Have you ever wondered, amid the long rows of meat counters at Costco, which ones are truly the great deals and which ones are traps that make you lose money without even realizing it? Costco is truly a paradise for meat lovers, from ribeye and brisket to golden roasted chicken. But don't let the bright lights and enticing aromas fool you. Some meats seem cheap, but in reality, they end up costing you twice as much, both in money and quality. Today, we'll point out 6 meats you should avoid at Costco and, more importantly, smart alternatives to choose so that every dollar you spend is truly worth it. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video.
Wow!
1. Packaged bacon. If you're a fan of the crispy aroma of bacon slices every morning, this section will definitely make you think twice before tossing a pack of Costco's smoked bacon into your cart. Why? Because this is one of the items that seems cheap, but actually costs you the most in their freezer section. At first glance, Costco's prepackaged bacon looks like a great value. Big trays, evenly sliced meat, and a price hovering around $17.18 for nearly 4 pounds. But when you bring it home and fry it, you'll understand what illusion of savings really means. It shrinks by half. The fat melts away almost completely, leaving just a few tiny, crispy snack-like pieces that are gone before you know it. In the end, the actual edible meat is only about 1.5 to 2 pounds, which means the real price per pound is higher than the fresh meat you could buy at the counter next to it. That's not even mentioning that most bacon at Costco, whether Kirkland brand or Smithfield, is pre-seasoned with salt, sugar, preservatives, and sodium nitrite. It looks appealing with that attractive pinkish red color, but that's really thanks to the additives. Eating it long-term not only increases your salt intake, but can also cause thirst, bloating, and even affect blood pressure. In other words, you're buying aroma and pretty color, not truly delicious meat. The slicing quality is another issue. Costco bacon is often cut extremely thin, which makes it quick to cook, but hard to control. Just a few seconds of inattention, and it burns black or sticks to the pan, turning into charred crumbs instead of proper smoked bacon slices. The solution is simpler than you think. If you really love that fatty, crispy bacon flavor, just buy a whole slab of pork belly from the counter next door. It's usually only $4.5 per pound, half the price of packaged bacon, with completely different quality. With just a little effort, you can salt it, lightly smoke it, or fry it crispy your own way. That way, you control the seasonings and preserve the meat's natural flavor. Most importantly, you know exactly what you're eating. No sugar, no additives, no artificial colors, just real meat. Crispy, fatty, and truly aromatic. And the fun part is, once people switch to making their own, they realize they not only save money, but also find the meat tastes way better. 2. Shrimp cocktail. If you've ever bought a tray of shrimp cocktail at Costco, you were probably drawn in by its perfect appearance. A clear plastic tray with bright orange-red shrimp arranged in a circle around a cup of sauce, looking elegant and ready to eat for parties. But after a few purchases, you'll realize this is one of the most expensive and not worth it items at Costco's seafood counter. At first glance, that shrimp tray looks like a restaurant dish. Beautiful color, easy to serve, and no cooking required. Around $19 for a tray sounds reasonable. But when you break it down and calculate the actual edible meat weight, each pound of your shrimp costs $13.14, while the same frozen raw shrimp in the freezer next to it is only $10 per pound. So you're paying nearly 30% more just to avoid boiling the shrimp yourself. But money isn't the only problem. The bigger issue is quality and processing. Many people don't know that the shrimp in these cocktail trays is pre-cooked, frozen, then thawed and reheated for display. Each handling strips away the shrimp's sweetness, crispness, and natural flavor. That's why when you eat it, the shrimp tastes powdery, dry, and even slightly fishy, despite looking shiny on the outside. Sometimes you bite into it, and it's both dry and bland, but with an off smell like old freezer water. That's the result of multiple freeze-thaw cycles. And that's not all. The accompanying cocktail sauce is really a mix of sugar, corn syrup, tomato paste, and a bunch of preservatives. If you're on keto, low carb, or just want to eat clean, that sauce jar is a total nightmare. One spoonful alone exceeds your daily sugar limit. As for the shrimp's origin, most of Costco's shrimp cocktail comes from Asian farms, commonly Vietnam, Thailand, or Indonesia. It may sound familiar, but the farming practices and water quality in these areas vary widely. To meet huge volumes, many farms use antibiotics and industrial feed to keep the shrimp alive. So the shrimp you think is fresh and clean might carry antibiotic residues and heavy metals. The solution is extremely simple. Buy frozen raw shrimp in the wild-caught variety if possible. Costco still sells it, prepackaged for about $10 per pound, cheaper and much safer. At home, just boil it quickly in boiling water for 2 to 3 minutes, then plunge it straight into an ice bath for a cold shock. The shrimp will keep its crispness, sweetness, and natural red color, just like at a high-end restaurant. So next time you walk by Costco's seafood counter and see those neatly arranged shrimp cocktail trays under the cold lights, remember, that red color isn't a sign of freshness, but evidence of something that's been processed too many times. A little time cooking it yourself at home will give you shrimp that's 100 times better, cheaper, cleaner, and truly worth eating. 3. Rotisserie chicken. Costco rotisserie chicken is almost legendary on every shopping trip. Just step into the warehouse, and the aroma of those golden chickens under the lights makes everyone want to grab one right away. At just $4.99, many people believe it's an absolute steal. Hot, delicious, filling, and convenient. But behind that aroma is an unpleasant truth. This rotisserie chicken is cheap in price but expensive in quality. Most Costco rotisserie chickens are cooked hours in advance, then kept warm under heat lamps all day long. The meat is soft and aromatic when hot, but after just a few hours, the skin starts to wrinkle, the breast meat dries out and gets tough, and the thighs become mushy, losing all their natural sweetness. That's the result of constant drying from high heat over a long period. When you look closely at the label, the ingredients list surprises many people. Instead of just chicken and salt as imagined, this product contains sugar, cornstarch, natural flavors, and preservatives. Those additives help the chicken keep its shiny golden color, long-lasting aroma, and shelf life all day, but they also make the food no longer real. For anyone on keto, low carb, or just wanting to eat clean, this is not a good choice at all. A $4.99 ready-to-eat chicken sounds cheap, but if you buy raw chicken at Costco too, it's only about $1.30 per pound, and then roast it at home. It's more savings and much better quality. It just takes 10 minutes of prep. Put the chicken in the oven with a little salt, pepper, butter, and lemon, and let the oven do the rest. The result is chicken that's crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside with natural sweetness. No additives, no starch, and no sugar. For busy people, there are still many convenient options that are cleaner than rotisserie chicken. You can choose prepackaged beef meatballs or pulled beef. Just heat them up or eat them straight from the package. They are still delicious, fatty, and high in protein, and they have no preservatives. The problem isn't that the rotisserie chicken is bad. It's that it tricks you into thinking you're saving money. Buyers think they've got a quick, cheap, tasty meal, but they're actually trading away natural flavor, nutrition, and quality control. Next time, when you walk by the Costco rotisserie chicken counter, that aroma will still be tempting. But before reaching for the tray, remember, that's the smell of additives, caramelized sugar, and flavor enhancers, not real chicken. Try roasting chicken at home once to experience the taste of melting butter, naturally crispy skin, and the true sweetness of the meat. After that, it's hard to go back to that $4.99 rotisserie chicken. Like to let me know you're watching this far. 4. Chuck roast. Many people still think chuck roast, the beef shoulder for stewing, is the best deal at Costco. It's big, solid, and budget-friendly. But in reality, if you don't buy it right, this is one of the items that makes buyers lose the most money at the beef counter. Most customers pick the pre-cut, shrink-wrapped, pre-priced kind. It looks convenient, but if you compare carefully, you'll see a big difference. At many Costco locations, pre-cut chuck roast costs about $12 per pound, while the whole chuck roll, the uncut beef shoulder block, is only about $7.20 per pound. That means just by cutting it at home, you save nearly half the price. Not only cheaper, this whole cut also has delicious parts that most people miss. Inside that giant shoulder, there's a real treasure, the Denver steak, also called Zabaton steak, a tender, sweet, and extremely rare cut in supermarkets. At restaurants, this Denver part can cost up to $30 per pound. But if you cut it yourself from the chuck roll, it's basically free with no extra cost. An average chuck roll weighs about 20 pounds. If you calculate the nearly $5 difference per pound, just one purchase saves about $100. With that money, you could buy a whole spice rack or cover several high-end steak meals. Another point to consider: pre-cut chuck roast is often exposed to air longer. The meat oxidizes slightly, leading to a darker color and dry surface. Meanwhile, the whole block is vacuum sealed, preserved better, keeping it moist. So when cooked, it's softer and naturally sweeter. Many people fear the hassle of buying whole cuts, thinking slicing takes too much time. But really, with a sharp knife, a few minutes of prep let you portion it out. A few pieces for stewing, a few thick slices for steak, and save the fat for stir-fries or sauces. It's one-time work that lasts the whole week. A small tip: when stewing chuck roll, don't throw away the fat. Beef fat is what creates that sweet, rich, naturally aromatic sauce. You can use this fat to drizzle over mashed potatoes or mix into salads. More savings and tastier than any bottled oil. Comparing convenience to true value, it's clear that buying pre-cut meat only saves a few minutes but costs you flavor and quality control. Meanwhile, with just a little time invested, the whole chuck roll is not only cheaper and tastier, but also lets you make the most of every part of the meat. 5. Filet mignon. When it comes to beef tenderloin, everyone thinks right away of the peak cut in the steak world. Tender, sweet, and almost melting in your mouth. It's the cut many people call the queen of beef, and its flavor truly deserves that title. But if you buy it at Costco without paying attention, tenderloin can easily become one of the most expensive and not worth it purchases. Most buyers choose the pre-cut filet mignon, neatly wrapped and beautifully displayed in foam trays. It looks luxurious, convenient, and ready to take home and just sear or pan fry for a delicious meal. But that convenience has a price. At many Costco stores, pre-cut filet mignon costs nearly $28 per pound, while the whole tenderloin block is only about $19 to $20 per pound. If you buy the whole block and cut it yourself into portions, you can save nearly $8 to $10 per pound. For a 6 to 7 pound block, that's enough money to buy a few bottles of good wine to pair with it. Not only does it save money, but the whole tenderloin also stays fresher and tastier. That's because it's vacuum sealed and kept cold right from distribution. Meanwhile, pre-cut meat is exposed to air longer, making the surface dry and slightly oxidized, so that bright red color starts turning darker. When cooked, this filet mignon is often less sweet, drier, and loses the silky texture that steak lovers crave. Another advantage of buying the whole thing is the flexibility to cut it to your needs. Want thick steaks for grilling? Cut 2 inches thick. Prefer quick pan searing? Cut thinner. You can even portion it into smaller pieces and freeze for later, clean and convenient. And the narrow tail end, which gets trimmed off in tray packs, is perfect for stir-fry beef, pasta, or cold meat salads. One detail few people notice: the fat and white sinew around the tenderloin when you cut it shouldn't be thrown away. That's the part that can make a rich, natural sauce without flour or additives. Just simmer it low, let the fat render, strain the liquid, and cool it down. You've got liquid gold, perfect for frying eggs, pan-searing, or roasting veggies. Tenderloin isn't just expensive in price, it's expensive in how you handle it. It's a delicate cut that cooks fast, so one wrong move with the heat and the center loses its perfect tenderness. That's why cutting it yourself from the whole block lets the cook fully control the size and cooking method, ensuring it's cooked just right, juicy and tender like at a high-end restaurant. Ribeye, the cut with those beautiful fat marbling lines, is tender, fatty, and incredibly aromatic when pan-seared. Anyone who's had a good ribeye will have a hard time going back to other steaks. But because it's so famous, this is also one of the items people buy wrong most often at Costco, thinking it's cheap, but ending up paying more without realizing it. Most customers walk into the meat counter and see those pre-cut ribeye trays, shrink-wrapped, looking extremely appealing. Each piece is round, evenly marbled, and inviting. But if you look closely, right next to them is usually the whole ribeye roast, the intact ribeye loin uncut into steaks. And this small choice can make a nearly $4 difference per pound. An average ribeye block is about 16 pounds. That means just by cutting it yourself at home, you save nearly $60–70. That's not even counting the white fat trimmed off during prep, which many people think is waste. It's actually real gold in the kitchen. Ribeye beef fat is perfect for making beef tallow, frying eggs, French fries, or sauces for other steaks. In the US today, beef tallow sells separately for over $4 per pound, so that trimmed fat alone is worth money, not trash. Why choose a whole ribeye over pre-cut? First, freshness. The whole block is vacuum sealed and kept cold from the start, with minimal air exposure, so it keeps its natural red color and internal moisture. Pre-cut meat sits out longer, exposed to light and air, leading to dry surfaces, darker meat, and less sweetness. Second, flexibility. Cutting it yourself lets you adjust thickness, 2-inch thick for restaurant-style grilling, or 1-inch for quick pan-searing. The head and tail ends can go into soups, stir-fries, or burgers. Zero waste. Cutting a whole ribeye isn't hard at all. Just a sharp knife, a large cutting board, and a few careful minutes. Cut as you go, wrap, and freeze. Each time you cook, just thaw a portion. Flavor stays fresh as new. For something more pro, cut out the ribeye cap separately. It's the best part, the fattest, tenderest, and most aromatic in the whole cow, what chefs call the perfect steak. Compared to spending dozens extra on pre-cut, the whole ribeye gives way more value. It saves money, uses every bit of fat, and gives full control over quality. No more opening a tray to find some pieces pretty, others pale, or edges dried out. When switching to a meat-heavy diet, especially low-carb or carnivore, many people feel tired or dizzy or get mild headaches in the first few weeks. It's not from lack of energy, it's because the body loses natural electrolytes when cutting carbs. Salt, potassium, and magnesium are 3 super important minerals that stabilize hormones, balance fluids, and keep muscles working well. So if you eat meat often, don't forget to season a bit heavier or add mineral salt water to meals. Many feel better just after a few days of increasing salt and water intake. Another tip, choose pink Himalayan salt or natural sea salt. They have more trace minerals than refined table salt. Also, prioritize plain, minimally seasoned meat because processed meats often add sugar, starch, and preservatives. That can make you feel sluggish. Eating meat right isn't just tastier, it sustains energy all day long. True savings aren't about buying cheap. It's about choosing what's truly worth it. Items like ribeye, chuck roast, filet mignon, rotisserie chicken, and shrimp cocktail, if you know how to select and prep them yourself, they're tastier and way cheaper. Understand origins, avoid processed stuff, and prioritize real ingredients. That's smart shopping. Because in the end, real value isn't on the discount label, it's in the quality you put on your table. Subscribe for more tips to save every week.